Bottom right, a member of the team FXO, formerly on Foyu, he is...
FXOpen.
There he is, Oz. His opponent, at the bottom left here, member of Team NSH, he is known as...
NSH
Jakji.
Sounds like a very fearsome name.
It is a fearsome name. That's actually a really good way to say it, man. So
There he is right there.
I'm thinking most likely what we're going to see out of this guy is a 1 barracks expand that's really popular right now. You hardly ever see Terrans going for gas right away anymore, at least in televised matches. I'm not saying it's unpopular to see that, but it's what's popular right now. And
well, when you're in a map that is long, you can get that expansion up. And the great thing about Terran is you don't need to take it at the natural for it still to be useful.
Exactly.
You get that 11 supply, which makes it so you can delay some of your supply depots, so it's not that much of an investment. And if you can get an orbital command up for 3 minutes, it pays for itself.
Exactly. Now, like I was saying, like we were just talking about, you can make that command center behind, but a lot of Terrans do like to make it on the outside on this particular map, and we may see Jakji do that here. He hasn't taken his gases. Of course, back at home for Oz, he's already taken one of his gases, and most likely we're going to see him do some type of 1-gate expand. I think that's most likely what we'll see. That kind of tends to be his style here. We could see anything, though.
And it also depends on the scouting that he gets. He is actually sending his probe in the wrong direction, so it's going to take him a while to scout that this wall is going up, so he doesn't exactly know the timing of the gas for Oz, or excuse me, for NSH.
He did send an early Zealot out, and that's going to be very difficult for his opponent to deal with, or it would have been rather if he didn't scout it. Since he was able to see that, he's going to make the command center not on the outside but on the inside instead. Yep. He's already got 2 Marines out, and when this Zealot gets here, it's not going to be able to do a whole lot.
Just keeping those Marines as close to the wall as possible just to make sure that they stay defended but also can get the range and force that Zealot to run away. The Zealot sees the Marines and immediately backs up. If those Marines were further back, the Zealot would be able to not take the immediate hits and be able to walk directly up to the wall and maybe see that command center.
Another thing to note is the command center did actually get built very far away from those Marines just in case the Zealot just wanted to get up there and be aggressive and see it. He was able to make that command center back there, so it wasn't scouted. That was a smart move. Now, right now, Oz has taken his second gas. He's actually sending a probe over to maybe hide a pylon. Now, there's only 2 Zealots out here right now. The Stalker is going to arrive pretty soon. When that Stalker gets here, it's going to force either a bunker or it's going to force some SCVs to come out, because there's no way that Jakji can deal with this with just 4 Marines.
Yep.
And here comes that Stalker now. He's going to start poking away at that depot most likely, and at the Marines if they get too close.
And this is good. The Stalker forces the Marines back temporarily, and the Zealots can come up and take some hits. Terran buildings obviously do not repair themselves, so all the hits that you get are good for later on. However, this Stalker is being a little too aggressive, takes some actual hits on his health that does not regenerate for the Protoss. And every little bit you can take away from the Protoss army helps you later in the game.
This is the scary part. When the second Stalker gets here, you just need to have a bunker, and if you don't, you may just end up dying. If Oz decided to make a few more gateways right now and try to end this game, it wouldn't be very difficult for him. These depots may end up falling here.
One depot on fire right now. Both depots on fire. They are going to take a lot of damage. A lot of SCVs are going to need to get pulled here, but the Marines are dying quite quickly to these Stalkers like you were talking about. If those Marines can get down to a low number, then Oz can really push in with a stronger force.
And it looks like the Stalkers are going to finally be forced to retreat, but as those shields regenerate, he's going to continue to be aggressive. He has started a Nexus back at home during all of this. He's stuck with that 1 gate, so it's essentially an aggressive 1-gate expand.
Yeah, and this is interesting. He did a lot of damage even only on a single gateway. If he'd built 3 or 4 gateways, he could have ended the game right there.
Yeah, if he had 4 gated, that game would have actually ended. But instead, he's deciding to play it safe, get a Nexus. He's going to continue to pressure here. That bunker's not up yet. Takes out a Marine, may take out a second one. Just wants to avoid taking any real damage on those Stalkers, wants to attack only when their shields are up.
And the Terran player going for the upgrades he needs. He is getting Stim. He's also getting Engineering Bay. The Engineering Bay obviously lets you get missile turrets up early so you can get detection against DTs, but it also signifies that the Terran player is going to go for more of a bio-heavy army, trying to get those bio upgrades early on. If you can get out 3-3 bio in the relatively early, you have a very, very powerful, very, very efficient army as a Terran player.
During that little attack, Jakji actually got supply blocked. He had to make 2 depots. He lost a lot of mining time while he was repairing those depots. Not only that, but he had to invest the minerals in repairing them. Smartly, actually decided not to repair them all the way because you don't actually have to do that, and it just costs more money, more mining time.
That is true.
And the armor upgrade is already being researched by Oz. He's got that 1-up on his opponent. He's going to be able to Chrome Boost that out very quickly. He's adding some gateways here. He's going up to 5 gates. And I think he may try to do a timing attack here pretty soon.
Ooh, that Stalker just barely getting away, which is good for Oz. It can regenerate its shields. It will be at half health indefinitely, but every little bit you can add to your army is good. As you're talking about, Oz is getting the armor upgrade first. When you see a really strong either Zergling or Marine army, something that does very little damage but very frequently, armor upgrades have a huge effect on your entire army.
Exactly. The more times the attack is used, the more times the armor upgrade is applied essentially to that attack.
Yep. And it's all about maximizing the effectiveness of your army and minimizing the effectiveness of your opponents.
Now, when that armor finishes, he does have a few sentries here, and oh! The SCV did not really get a shot of those sentries. He doesn't really know what's going on. What Oz is going to do here is hit with the timing with +1 armor. With a ton of sentries, he's going to have Guardian Shield, so that's going to maximize that armor. It's going to be intense. He's going to use great force fields against those bunkers, and I'm not sure if Joxi would be able to hold this because he doesn't necessarily know that it's coming. He may kind of have an inkling of an idea. He's going to see this pylon. He does see the pylon over here, so now he knows. He's got to know what's going on. He may pull some SCVs.
The thing is that Oz is in a really good position to put on a lot of pressure here, but if he doesn't win the battle immediately, he can just back off. But the battle is starting.
He does attack again here. Sentry's not doing that much damage to bunkers, and he needs to back off. Like you were saying, he's not doing enough damage here. He has forced some stims. Does back away. He's warping in more units, but that attack was very unsuccessful.
It was unsuccessful, but it doesn't make him too far behind.
Yeah.
He is only behind by, actually 8 workers now. A lot more than I was expecting, but they are both on 2 bases, so he is going to be able to get those workers up quite quickly with those 2 extra chrono boosts.
He's forcing a lot of SCVs to not be mining, so he's down in workers, but not really, because it's evened out, or it's actually even looking better for Oz and how many workers are actually mining during this.
Yep.
And he's really scaring his opponent right now. He's going to take this time to tech up. He's got that Twilight Council going. He's getting +1 attack. He may take a 3rd base pretty soon.
And what's more important here is he's got a lot of Joxi's got a lot of SCVs not doing anything at all. They're just kind of sitting there waiting for the Protoss army to come in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
they're all useless.
They're all useless. It's like he's missing 6 SCVs. It's like he killed 6 SCVs.
Yeah, and in addition to that, Oz is kind of throwing off the mentality of Joxi. Joxi actually had to throw down a supply drop, which as a Terran player, you never want to be forced to do that. You always want to plan to get your supply depots up in advance. It's a lot more efficient to do that. So when you see a Terran player supply drop, it's either they lost supply and they need to get the supply quickly, or they are kind of on tilt a little bit and not completely focusing on their production.
Exactly.
So,
Templar Archives is going up right now.
Just one last thought on that battle. It was a failure militaristically,
yes,
but it was a victory in the mentality of the game.
Absolutely. Now, here's the problem. He's going to lose these 2 pylons here, which is going to put Oz in the red supply. And that is not a place he wants to be. Actually, will not lose the 2nd one just yet. Thing is, right now, Joxi is going to take a 3rd base, and this SCV is going to see everything, and this is going to trigger him to attack, most likely. He knows his opponent doesn't have that much tech. He knows he's got the medevacs out. He's got stim. He does have +1 attack. He's got this great army he can attack to. And this is actually, I don't know if you guys watched the game between Tassadar and Ryung the other day, but this is actually a really good way of looking at it. When Tassadar's attack failed, he was able to back up and make something happen with his army.
Yep.
And again, it looks like that's what Oz is going to try to do here, but the problem is, this time Joxi knows what to do. He knows to just get aggressive and attack.
Yeah, this bio army is actually coming out really, really strong. He didn't quite get combat shields yet, so it's not going to be as strong as he was really hoping for. But as you were saying, he's got a lot of the other key upgrades. He's got the medevacs out, and this is the timing when bio army is the most strong that it can possibly be. He's going to snipe out some of the assimilators there, try to decrease the amount of gas that Oz can get, but he's just going to back off after that and make sure he can get in a really strong position before he starts.
Oh, here he goes. Stim goes down. Some great force fields. Those force fields were so good. I've never even... It was like 8 force fields happened at once. But even so, I don't know. This is looking really bad for Oz. He just doesn't have the army he needs. He should have waited for charge. He didn't. Yeah, and that may be the fatal choice here.
Oz was able to take out half the army of Joxi, but at the expense of all of his zealots, and he really can't engage with just the Stalkers and Sentries that he has right now. He needs to back up. He's going to get some Archons. If he can get them into the fight, he is going to be okay. But The issue is that if this battle lasts for too long, ghosts are coming out here for Jakshi. Those ghosts are going to be able to EMP the entire army of of Oz, and then with that, be able to run in with the rest of the Bioforce and really take it out easily.
So that +2 armor is getting pretty close. 2-2 for the Terran army is catching up, though, pretty strong. Like you said, there's ghosts on the way. There's a 3rd command center on the way. Army-wise, it's not looking good. He does have that 3rd Nexus just now starting, but I don't think he can hold any more pressure. At the very least, he needs to get Storm. He can't keep holding this off with just Archons and Zealots. There are too many Mirages in that mix. And surprisingly, still, no combat shields for our Terran player.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is the choice. He's trying to invest his gas on something else. He is getting the +2/+2, which is very important. But those combat shields make your Marines almost 20% more effective. Having a lot more effective Marine force is really, really important, too.
This drop could potentially be game-ending if he executes it properly, or if Oz doesn't see it. I mean, he has no idea it's coming. There's the scan. Ooh. There's a High Templar there, which just that High Templar was enough to scare him away, and he's pretty lucky that he got scared away, because if that had gone any differently, things would have gone really bad. Now he's most likely going to make a planetary here at that 3rd base, but he doesn't have to because he's got such an army lead.
So Oz, as you were saying before, is now finally researching Storm. When he gets Storm up, he is going to be okay. But it really depends on how these next few minutes are going to go.
There's a pylon right behind that base, so he could harass it if he wants to. He is making that into an orbital and not a planetary, though. I think that's a smart choice in this case because he is ahead. Normally you see planetaries when you're behind or you're not sure if your opponent can counterattack you. Yeah, when that Storm finishes, things are going to change, but I don't know if that Storm's going to finish before this battle. So Mia's stimming forward here, wanting to pick off those High Templar.
And he does get with the first one, and he is going to be able to get back without losing anything. This is a very nice move by Jakshi.
This is really scary for Oz. If he loses this battle, the game will end. He just needs to buy time for that Storm. He's got to be very, very careful. He's got to be diligent about splitting his units. He doesn't have Blink, so he can't use that to micro Stalkers behind his Zealots. He's got to have those Zealots at the front all the time. He does have +2 armor, but the Terran army has 2-2. So it's 2-2 against 2-1. +2 attack just now starting for Oz. +3.
7 ghosts on the field right there. That's
very,
very good. As they're all gaining energy.
Is he going to bring these SCVs? That would actually be a brilliant choice. He can afford to do this. And it looks like he is going to do it.
SCVs are really underestimated in combat. They are actually quite strong as a combat unit. You want them to be mining if you can.
Right.
But the thing is, he's nearly maxed.
Exactly.
When you have so many SCVs, you're not even getting an efficient use of them. So throwing them into your army, make that one battle stronger, and then you...
EMPs hit all of those High Templars. Zealots running forward here. Archon's getting EMP'd. This is looking really bad for Oz, but he does have some Archons flanking here. I don't think this is going to be hardly
completely
enough.
melted in. The rest of the army is going to be moving in. Terran army is extremely strong here. He is going to take down the rest of these Stalkers and just move on. There's so many medevacs, and those medevacs just kept the Terran army alive for that entire battle. We saw the entire Protoss army disappear, yet the Terran army only shrunk slightly.
He lost about 7 supply. That's it.
Oh,
he crushed everything else. GG.
Very nicely played by Jakshi. He was very defensive when he needed to, and then he started to move out when he saw that he had a lead. Unfortunate for Oz in that situation, but I think he knows what he did wrong. He will work on it for the future.
Yeah, if he just hadn't committed as much to that attack, he would have been in an okay spot.
Fancy red shoes there by Jakshi.
Yeah, I like those shoes. I wonder if he taps them together a few times after he kills all of FXO, he just disappears and goes home.
There's no place like the GSL. There's no place like the GSL.
There's Tastar right there actually at the top left, and they practice together, so I'm sure he's dealt with that type of build a lot because Tastar does it all the time.
Yeah, Tastar is a very strong Protoss player, as you were saying before. They also have San on their team. San actually isn't here today. I'm not exactly sure what the reason for that is, but NSH obviously a strong team even without their star player, and they're starting to make new star players.
Yeah, and they actually used to be called New Star, didn't they?
New Star Hoso.
Yeah.
Hoso is the sponsor, and then New Star is the team name.
Yeah. Okay, so you said New Stars, and I was like, New Star, I've heard that. I'm pretty sure they used to be called that or something. No, it's what NS stands for. It's not just NS.
And NSP, the clan, a lot of those players merged with some of the other players that then now created NS Hoso. So if you're looking for a little history lesson, go check out the NSP clan. It's been around for a very long time.
Yeah, StarCraft 1 as well.
Yep, and it's produced a lot of good players.
It has Genius was on NSP, and he hung around with Nex as well. And NSP is a clan and NS Hoso is a team.
Yep.
So you've got the people in NSP who've joined this new team, but they're still part of the clan. It's not like they left them. It's not like the foreign scene where every clan wants to be a team, and like, and if they're not a team yet and they leave the clan, it's like they can't go back. There's kind of this weird sort of thing that goes on in the foreign scene. Not with every clan, but a lot of clans out there, people leave the clan, then they're not welcome back. Whereas in Korea, if you join a team, your clan's like, good job, but you still hang out in the chat channel and you're just there all the time. And I'm not saying everyone does that for clans in StarCraft.
I think the main difference is that foreign teams are really just sponsored clans. Clans and teams in Korea are very, very different, whereas in the foreign scene, like you're saying, they're really not all that different. So if you choose one, you have to choose, or you
clans want to get sponsors to become a team. They want to grow up and become a team. Not all clans do. Like NSP, for example, could have possibly done that, but that's not really, they're not really focused on that right now. They're just training players. They love to hang out together. It's a very relaxed atmosphere. They go in, pop in, hang out with their friends, play some games, train, and then, when their players get accepted to a team, they go, good job, you've graduated from us.
They support them.
Exactly.
And then with that support, you develop a network of a lot of other people you can work with, and you're with a team for a period of time. You need to put in your all to make sure that you can seek your true potential, but sometimes teams aren't a good fit for people, and sometimes you don't find that out until 6 months, a year into it. So it's good to have that variety available to you.
All right, so who is FXO going to pick? Optic Zero. I actually knew they were going to pick him. I just didn't want to tell you guys.
Oh, thanks.
It is going to be Optic Zero, Carl Angelis, coming out here to show his stuff. It's his first time in a televised match.
Yeah, and he has been preparing a lot for this. He has been getting increasingly confident the more he's been playing in Korea, getting a lot of experience playing against the Korean style, and also learning from the rest of his FXO players.
He has practiced a ton, actually. He does a great job at all the matchups. His PvP is definitely his best, and for that reason, we kind of told him he would most likely come out second, because we thought that they would send a Protoss against Haksu, and unexpectedly they sent a Terran, but he's so prepared to play the second match that it seems to be that's why he's been chosen here. I was obviously able to influence that decision. I've talked with Dan, and I said, Dan, I want you to make all the decisions today. I'm casting today. I trust your choices, and we've talked about this before, so I agree with this choice. I like sending him out second. He's very prepared for this. He's said he's not really nervous. He's ready to get out there. He wants to sit in the booth. He wants to do it.
I think he's ready.
He does a lot of very interesting builds in PvC and PvP, like all-ins, cheeses, cannoning. In PvT, though, he actually plays a pretty normal game and plays a late macro game and does a pretty good job with it.
Yeah, I heard he was a very creative player, and that's one of his really big strengths, but being in Korea, has that style changed a little bit at all?
A little bit. I mean, in North America, a lot of people dislike him because he cheeses all the time. He does like Phoenix builds in PvP and beats people, and it frustrates people. And he's a player that a lot of people get frustrated, and then you meet him in real life, and he's actually the nicest little quiet guy who watches K-dramas in the house. He's just really nice. But when he came to Korea, he changed his style a little bit. He worked on his macros, so that's what he's been improving on. But we're going to take a 2-minute break, guys. When we get back, Optic will take on Zhao Qi.